Okay. February, March 2021, paper 3, variant 2. Question 1. Choose a box dropped from an airplane. The box contains supplies. Anyway, the parachute is opened when time is 6 seconds, when the time was 6 seconds. And this is the speed time graph. State and explain what happens to the kinetic energy of the box during the first 6 seconds of the descent. What happens to the kinetic energy of the box in the first 6 seconds? Any ideas?
Kinetic energy is gonna increase.
Increases.
Increases, correct. Kinetic energy increases. Why? Because the speed increases. Which is correct. Okay? Yeah. Kinetic energy. Kinetic energy increases. Why does it increase? Since the speed or the velocity increases. Okay. State and explain what happens to the gravitation potential energy of the box during the first 6 seconds. What's happening to the gravitation potential energy of the box?
Decreases.
Decreases. Why? Because its height above the ground.
As the speed is increasing.
No, not as the speed is increasing, because its height above the ground is decreasing. It's falling towards the ground. The distance between the box and the ground is decreasing. Okay, so what happens to gravitation potential energy? Oh, gravitation potential energy decreases. Why? Because the height above the ground, above the ground decreases. Okay. Use the graph to determine the speed of the object when the object is moving with a constant speed. Find the speed of the object when it was moving with a constant speed. What was the speed of the object? Yeah, from the graph. What was the speed of the object when it was moving at a constant speed?
10.
10. It was 10. This constant speed. This is the part with the constant speed. 10 meters per second. State the size of the resultant vertical force on the object when it was falling at a constant speed. Vertical force.
مستر ممكن تطلع فوق شوية؟
The resultant vertical force of the box when it was moving with a constant speed. What's the vertical? Zero. Whenever you're falling at a constant speed, the vertical force, the resultant force is always zero.
مستر عندي سؤال هو دلوقتي gravitational potential بيديكريز مش المفروض عشان ال height of the ground increase مش decrease؟
The gravitational potential energy increases when the height increases. طيب دلوقتي the box is falling downwards. As the box falls downwards, the height between the box and the ground is decreasing. It's getting closer to the ground. صح? When it's getting closer to the ground, the height is decreasing, so the gravitational potential energy is also decreasing. Okay? تمام ولا ايه؟ Okay. I'll take that as an okay.
أنا هو المايك مش باين صوتي؟
لا. Okay.
أوكي.
Calculate the distance traveled during the first 6 seconds. What's the distance traveled during the first 6 seconds? يلا. And I don't want the final answer. The distance traveled during the first...
Area under the graph.
Area under the graph. Okay. Area under on the graph. What's the area during the first 6 seconds? Oh, this is an area of a triangle, correct? The base is 6 and the height. What's the maximum height it reached?
45.
45.
45. يلا. Half
times half صح؟
Yes, times half. Half times base times height. Half times 6 times 45, which will give me 135. correct. يلا. Without calculation, describe how figure 1.2 shows the deceleration of the box is greater than the
has a
acceleration.
steeper line.
Steeper line, correct. Whenever I say the deceleration is greater than the acceleration, or a part with a greater acceleration than the other acceleration, it always has to do with the steepness or with the slope. Okay, steeper line or greater slope, steeper slope, whatever. Okay, steeper gradient. They're all the same meaning. Okay, calculate the volume of the stone. Calculate the volume of the stone. What's the volume of the
72 minus 48 هتبقى 24.
هنا 72. Okay, and this is 48.
48.
شباب احنا we always take the volume from the bottom of the meniscus. 72 and 48. يلا. 72 minus 48 is
24.
24 centimeters cubed. Calculate the density of the stone. Density equals
mass over volume.
mass over volume. يلا الماس 98.4 and the volume is 41.
تبقى 2.4.
2.4 grams per centimeter cubed. The stone with a mass of 94 grams has a weight of 0.984 newtons. Explain the difference between mass and weight.
ممكن اقول
Okay.
بس الاماونت اوف ماتر ان بودي والويت الاماونت اوف فورس اللي بنحطه على الارض.
Mass, okay, the amount of matter inside the body. الويت is what?
الاماونت اوف فورس being exert يعني put on the floor.
صح, it is a force, correct. It is a force due to what?
Gravity.
Gravity.
يبقى it is a force, okay, due to gravity. حلو, كويس, برافو. ماشي. Next question.
مستر force due ايه to ايه؟
Force due to gravity. Okay. Moment. Calculate the moment of the 5.2 Newton force about the pivot. ماشي, easy. Moment equals moment
Force
Over
times
area.
perpendicular distance.
times
Also?
perpendicular.
perpendicular distance. Someone said area. It's not area, huh? Perpendicular distance. 5.2 times the distance to the pivot is what?
6.
6. Distance between the 5.2 and the pivot is 6 centimeters. Okay. Times 6, which is about 31.2. صح? 31.2, which is Newton meter or Newton centimeter, which is very close to 30 Newton centimeters. Okay, next question. The beam is balanced. Calculate the force P. Okay, this is one of the very rare cases. One of the really, really rare cases in which you are required to solve or find the force or find the distance when you have three forces acting on the beam. Okay, one of the very rare cases when you have three forces acting on the beam, and that's why you have to, يا شباب, you have to write down. Okay, this is balanced. Whenever it is balanced, I have to write down what? Clockwise moment. Clockwise moment equals what? Equals anti-clockwise moment. You must do that. Clockwise moment equals anti-clockwise moment. Why? Because we have three forces. You cannot just say that force is equal to the moment divided by the distance. Okay, I've heard this too many times before. Okay, you've been doing it, and I've been telling you, no, you cannot do it this way. It's wrong to do it this way. You cannot find the force by just dividing the moment by the distance. No, it's wrong. Okay, what should I do? I should find the clockwise moments and the anti-clockwise moments, and I should equate them one by one. Okay. First of all, the 5.2 newtons, is this a clockwise or an anti-clockwise moment? Would this exert a clockwise or an anti-clockwise moment? This rotation, is it clockwise ولا
Anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise.
anti-clockwise? Okay. P, is it clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Clockwise.
Clockwise. طيب 8.1, is it clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Clockwise.
Clockwise. So now I have two clockwise moments and only one anti-clockwise moment. Correct? يعني the 5.2 is the one we calculated, which was anti-clockwise. Clockwise moment, force times perpendicular distance plus force times perpendicular distance. What do I mean? P, which is the force, I don't know the force, times the distance 2. P times 2 plus the other clockwise moment, which is 8.1 times 2. But again, what did I do? 8.1 times 2. I found all of the clockwise moments, and I will write them on the left-hand side, and then I will find all of the anti-clockwise moment, and I will write them on the right-hand side. The anti-clockwise moment, the only anti-clockwise moment we have is the 5.2 times the 6 centimeters. This is how we solve this question.
انا مش فاهمة.
Again, what do I do? Whenever I have a beam which is balanced, what are the conditions for a beam to be balanced? I have two conditions. The resultant forces are equal to 0 and the moments are equal to 0. What do I mean by the moments are equal to 0? A clockwise moment is always equal to the anti-clockwise moment. Okay, the turning effect, which turns it to the left, it's not to the left, to anti-clockwise, has to be equal to the turning effect on the clockwise moment. Yeah, they both must be equal. No turning effect is not, it is not tilting to the left or to the right. That's the whole point of clockwise moment and anti-clockwise moment. When they are equal, it's in equilibrium, it is balanced, it's not tilting, it's not moving, it's not rotating, it's not doing anything. It's balanced. Okay, so we just look at each force we have. Okay, we need to take a look at each force we have. Okay.
مستر
Hmm.
يعني احنا المفروض بنعمل الانتي كلوك وايز الاتنين تايمز بعض والكلوك وايز الاتنين تايمز بعض بعد كده بنعملهم اد.
Plus, yes. Okay, yes. But هنا we have two clockwise, not two anti-clockwise. هنا we have two clockwise moments and we have only one anti-clockwise moment. Okay?
اوكي.
Okay. So clockwise, I found P times 2, P which is the force, I don't know the force, times the 2 distance, plus 8.1 times 2, which is equal to 5.2 times the 6, which is the only anti-clockwise moment we have. Yeah, this is 31.2. 8.1 times 2 is 16.2 plus P times 2. And then
بس
step
عندي سؤال.
Hmm.
هو البي تايمز 2 دي حسبناها ازاي؟
P اللي هي force times the distance. Force times the distance to the pivot.
يعني لما اجي اطلع الانسر كانها مش موجوده.
Yes. Yes. احنا we want to find P.
يعني بس انا مش فاهمة خالص.
We want to find P again. واحدة. We want to find P. This is a rather hard question, يا جماعة. This is a harder question. One of the Will this question be in your final test? لا. لا. You won't have this question in your final test. Why? Because this is a harder question. This is more of a March test. It's not a June test. This is one of the harder questions. Okay. So please just bear with me while we solve this question. شباب, it is a hard question. Okay. So please just try to solve it as simple as possible. خلاص الموضوع بسيط خالص. As simply as possible. What do? We find all of the clockwise moments and we find all of the anti-clockwise moments. فين الclockwise moments اللي عندي? Okay, احنا we have two clockwise moments. We have two clockwise moments. What are they? Well, they are only two. This is the clockwise moment. Why is it clockwise? Because it's rotating this way. So how does the clock rotate? It rotates in this manner. This is the clockwise moment. But whatever rotates in the same direction is clockwise. This is rotating this way. خلاص يبقى both of them are clockwise. يبقى 8.1 times 2 moment, force times perpendicular distance, and force times. Well, what did I do? What did I do? Force times perpendicular distance plus force times perpendicular distance is equal to the force times the perpendicular distance, but in the anti-clockwise direction. The only one which is anti-clockwise was 5.2 times 6. This is the only anti-clockwise moment we had. This is the only anti-clockwise moment. 5.2 times 6. What about the clockwise moments? We had 2 times p, or p times 2, plus 2 times 8.1. That's it. That's it. Okay. How should I find p minus? Yeah, p times 2 is equal to 31.2 minus 16.2, which is 15, I guess. Okay, then we divide by 2. When we divide by 2, p would be equal to 7.5. Okay,
هو احنا جبنا ال 15 منين؟
31.2 minus 16.2. Okay, minus 31.2 minus 16.2 تبقى 15.
هو
Okay.
احنا ليه عملنا subtract؟ ليه ما عملناش add؟
Plus عشان هنا it's positive when it goes to the other side it become negative.
ماشي اوكي.
Okay, ماشي. خلاص, that's it. We found P. It is a hard question. It is a hard question. Don't worry if you do not know how to do it. Try to do it again. Try to solve it again 2 or 3 times and make sure that you can do it much better next time, inshallah. Okay? Yeah. Moving on to a much easier question. State the names of the parts of the power station labeled A and B. What's A and what's B?
turbine و generator.
طبعا turbine generator. Yeah, turbine and generator. Geothermal energy is one source of renewable energy. State 2 other sources of renewable energy. Whatever 2 other sources of renewable energy.
في wind وفي tidal
Hmm.
وفي hydroelectric.
Wind, tidal, hydroelectric, solar. Okay, good. State 2 environmental advantages other than being renewable of a geothermal power station compared to a coal-fired power station. 2 environmental advantages other than
less
being
pollution.
Less
less.
carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
Okay, correct. It's better to say less carbon dioxide pollution or less CO2 pollution or less global warming effect or less acid or no acid rain effect. Okay, it's not a good practice to say less pollution. Okay, less pollution is very vague. Less pollution is very vague. So it's much better to say less does not contribute to global warming, for example. Oh, doesn't contribute to global warming. صح? We can say مثلا in it doesn't produce sulfur or acid rain. Okay. Oh, acid rain. ماشي. Can I calculate the weight of the metal block? How can I find the weight?
Weight equals mg.
Weight equals mg. Mass.
هتبقى
Mhm.
1.6 times 9.8 اللي هي 15.7.
15.7 newtons. Okay. Calculate the pressure on the flat surface. Calculate the pressure on the flat surface.
Pressure equals force over area.
ماشي. pressure equals force over area. Force is
force is قلنا 15.7
15.7.
صح. area.
والarea 6 times 3 اللي هي 18.
This is the area of the base. 6 times 3. 15.7 over 6 times 3 would be
0.871.
0.87. ماشي حلو. Good. Moving on to the next question. In an experiment, the metal block is heated and the temperature of the metal block increases by 100 degrees Celsius. State the effect of any of the temperature increase on the volume, the mass, and the density. When I increase the temperature, what happens to the volume?
الvolume هتنكيس.
Increases. صح. Mass.
stay the same.
Same.
صح. Stays the same. Density.
decreases.
صح. Decreases. Whenever you increase the volume and the mass remains the same, then the density has to decrease. Yep. This is the path of the red light. And the critical angle of the red light is 43 degrees. Label the angle of incidence A. Label the angle of incidence at A. Where is the angle of incidence at A?
angle of incidence at A هتبقى between a normal line وال ray of LED light. يعني it's gonna be on the left.
On the left, okay. Outside the glass block. Okay, this is X. Okay, this is X. State the name of the process which occurs at A.
refraction.
Seems like no one else has studied yet.
كنت عارف يا مش
طب تقول
هو
على
معرفش بقى.
على طول يلا على طول. State the name given to the dashed line at A.
نورمال.
مثلا نمبر لاين.
صح normal. On figure 6.1, one of the angles at B is 62. State the value of P.
62 برضه.
طيب why is it 62?
عشان هما بيكونوا equal.
alternate angles.
total internal reflection.
هما they are equal due to total internal reflection. Total internal. طب can someone tell me why did the total internal reflection occur?
The angle is more than the critical angle.
The angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle. صح correct. Draw the
مستر
fact.
عندي سؤال.
Hmm.
هو مستر ما ينفعش يقول ريفليكشن بس لازم
لا
يقول
لا لا
total.
لا لا. If you say reflection بس that's wrong. You have to say total internal reflection.
هو بيحصل بقى عشان ايه اكبر من ايه؟
Because the angle of incidence at B, what is the angle of incidence? 62. This is the angle of
62.
incidence. It's greater than the critical angle. ايه ده هو what's the critical angle اهي. He told you the critical angle is 43.
43.
62 is greater than 43 definitely صح؟
ايوه.
Yeah. Total internal reflection will occur. بس. At C بقى, what will happen? What will happen at C?
refraction تاني.
Refraction again. How will it move? Upwards, downwards, with the same direction? Will it bend towards the normal, away from the normal?
لا it will bend away from the normal.
Away from the normal. Okay. It has to bend away from, how does it bend away from the normal? Moves downwards a little. Moves downwards a little. With what? With which angle? Whatever angle. It just needs to increase a little. That's all you need to do. Okay, you don't need to be 100% accurate with the angle. It just needs to increase a little. Okay. ماشي. which angle or which letter is the amplitude?
P.
Did you say P?
اه.
R.
لا, not P. It's
R.
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 R. Ah, which is the
S.
wavelength?
S.
S. Yes, bro. S. Okay. A student stands next to a pond and observes the water waves on its surface. She counts 12 complete waves passing a point.
مستر
And
معلش عندي سؤال.
ها
مستر فوق بي هتكون فريكونسي ولا هتكون ايه؟
لا, P is nothing. P is double the amplitude. Okay. P is just
طب الفريكونسي اللي هي بتكون ما بين اللي هي تي صح؟
لا. Frequency. We have an equation for the frequency. What is the equation?
Number of cycles over time.
صح. Waves over time or number of cycles over time. Frequency equals number of waves over time taken. What is the number of waves in this question? She counts how many waves?
3.
12. لا, in this question, again, in B it's different than A. She counts 12 complete waves in a time of 8 seconds. But that's it. 12 divided by 8. 1.5 hertz. Okay. Frequency is the number of waves per unit time. Figure 7.1 shows a transverse wave. Describe the difference between transverse and longitudinal. What's the difference?
transverse بيمove up and down perpendicular to the energy motion بس longitudinal بيمove left and right parallel to the energy motion.
Correct. Okay. Transverse vibrates up and down, perpendicular to the energy motion, longitudinal vibrates left and right parallel to the energy motion. Okay. حلو.
يا
This-
مستر اطلع ثانية.
مم. يلا. Up and down perpendicular, left and right parallel.
خلاص.
Describe an experiment to identify the pattern and direction of the magnetic field lines around the bar magnet. How can we identify the pattern and the direction of the magnetic field around the magnet?
by compass.
using a compass.
Using a compass, correct. Okay, I know we said it before, but again, what do we do with the compass? We place the compass in several positions around the magnet. Oh, place the compass in several positions around the magnet. And then when I place it in several positions around the magnet, what should I do? In each position, draw an arrow with the direction of the north pole of the magnet, sorry, of the compass. Okay, in each position, the compass will tilt. So it will change its direction. Whenever it changes its direction, I will just draw an arrow with the direction of the north pole of this compass. Then what should I do? I'll just join the lines, okay? Or join the arrows using lines. That's it. Okay. It's a very systematic answer. Okay.
Iron.
It's
Steel.
permanent
Steel.
magnet.
Steel.
Steel.
غلط يا مستر.
Iron غلط. لا, you cannot use iron. Iron is literally a temporary magnet.
مش كوبر ولا كان temporary magnet.
لا, copper is not even a magnetic material at all.
ايه ده؟ ماشي معلش اتلخبطت والله اتلخبطت بين الاتنين ماشي
Okay.
اسف.
Okay. Steel. We have to use steel as the permanent magnet of the bar. ماشي. There's a force on this wire. I have a wire which has a current inside it. This is a drawing for the simple DC motor. This is a simple DC motor. I have a wire which has a current inside it. This wire should be connected to a battery. Okay. The student wants to reverse the direction of the force on the wire.
Change the poles of the magnet.
Okay. Flip the poles of the magnet or
Reverse the current.
reverse the current. That's it. Flip the poles of the magnet, or you can change or reverse the current. Correct. The student wants to increase. The student increases the separation of the poles of the permanent magnet. Now he increases the separation. Instead of them being this close, he will increase the separation. State and explain how increasing the separation affects the force on the current carrying wire.
هي decrease الفورس عشان عملنا decreasing للمagnetic field.
Correct. Okay. Whenever you increase the distance between the magnetic poles, the magnetic field will decrease. And therefore, when the magnetic field decreases, the force on the wire also decreases. Okay. The force decreases because the magnetic field, okay, the magnetic field strength decreases. Okay? Okay. I have an electric circuit, thermistor, a buzzer. Calculate the resistance of the thermistor. The voltmeter reading 5.6.
مستر هو قال المagnetic field دي
Hmm?
هو قال force decreases the magnetic field هتكون ايه؟
Since the magnetic field strength decreases. Okay. I have a thermistor. I have the voltage of the thermistor and the current passing through it. Calculate the resistance. R equals
R equals V over R.
Hmm.
5.6 over 0.04 equals 140.
140 ohms. The temperature of the thermistor increases and the buzzer turns on. State and explain how the increase in temperature affects the current in the thermistor. يلا, quickly.
الcurrent هي increase
Why?
عشان قللنا resistance.
Okay, so whenever the temperature increases, what happens to the resistance? The resistance decreases, correct? Okay, decreases. So the current increases. Suggest a possible use for the circuit shown in 9.1. What is one possible real-life use for this circuit?
Fire alarm.
Fire alarm, صح? Whenever you have a thermistor, usually we can use this thermistor for a fire alarm. Okay? Student uses a laptop computer. She notices that the cable connecting to power is damaged. State the hazard of using a mains equipment with damaged insulation.
electrical shock.
Electrical shock, correct. How the fuse protects the main supply of the mains electrical appliance. How does the fuse protect the appliance?
When there's too much current over the intended amount of current, it melts the fuse. But the fuse breaks the circuit.
Okay. Which protects the circuit how?
عشان it breaks the
Stops the
circuit
Protects the circuit from
everything.
what?
From overheating.
Overheating, thank you. Okay. When the current increases, the fuse melts. Oh, the fuse melts, protecting the circuit or protecting the appliance from overheating. The laptop has an input primary voltage of 120, input primary coil 2000 turns, secondary coil 200 turns. Calculate the output voltage. What's the equation we use?
VP over NP equals VS over NS.
Okay, we have everything. Primary voltage, VP, 120. Primary number of coils, 2000. VS, secondary voltage, I don't have it. NS, the number of turns on the secondary coil. Cross multiply, very simple cross multiplication,
تبقى 12.
12. State the material used for the core of the transformer.
Iron.
Iron. Okay, the core of the transformer has to be iron, correct? يلا. Carbon 12 is an isotope. Or is a stable isotope. Carbon 14 is an unstable isotope. What's the number of electrons in carbon 12 and carbon 14?
6
and
and
6.
6.
6 and 6. What's the number of protons?
6 and
6 and
6
6.
one.
Okay. What's the number of neutrons?
6 and 8.
6 and 8. Hina, what did I do? I 12 minus 6, but in this one I did 14 minus 6, which gave me 8. ماشي. Decay curve. Okay, find the half-life. How can I find the half-life? يلا. How should I find the half-life?
هنعمل 16,000 divided by 2 تدينا 8,000 ونعمل line عند ال 8,000 ونشوف هينزل لحد فين.
Okay. 16,000 divided by 2 is 8,000. يلا. Whenever we have a curve يا شباب, what do? We use the first number and we divide it by 2. 16,000 divided by 2 is 8,000. I will draw a line. بس هنا I need to be quite accurate. Zoom in. Okay. And then this line is in the center of the square. I'll draw a line all the way to here. What's this? Can someone help me out?
5,750. 5,750.
5,750. That is correct. Okay, why? Because each small square is worth 500. Each small square is worth what? 500. So the first one is 5,500 and the other one is 6,000. So it's in the center, 5,500, and this is 6,000. So the center of them is a 5,750. 5,750. Okay? Usually it's a lot easier than this, but again, we can do it. Okay?